Hi, this is Mary Morgan of the Morgan Network. Welcome to Marketing Sense. Today, I'm at Chicago Cut and delighted to be asking my friend and colleague, Duncan Ferguson, 3 questions about marketing, maybe more leadership these days. Greetings, Duncan. For people that don't know you, tell us about you and what you do.
Hi, Mary, and thanks. This is great. I'm really happy to be here. Real briefly, currently I work at Vantage Leadership Consulting. I've been at our firm for a little while, and we're headquartered here in Chicago. Prior to that, I worked for a global HR consulting firm called BPI Group, and prior to that was the bulk of my career, which is in corporate human resources at both BP Amoco and at GATX.
Great. Now for the 3 questions. First, what got you interested in this topic of favorite bosses?
You know, in general, I've always been involved with leadership. When I was in corporate HR, I did a lot around leadership development and helping organizations wrestle with their leadership issues. I've done a lot of executive coaching in my career, and I've also been a leader myself, having large groups of people reporting to me. And as my experience kind of grew over the time and did different things in my career, I became really interested in these great bosses. And you hear a lot about around organizations about there's certain people that everybody loves working for, and there's certain people that nobody wants to work for. And that really got me thinking, and it really kind of, the fuse got lit a little bit later in my career, really a couple years ago, when I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, Joel, who was working at a company that I didn't think he'd be that happy at. When we got together for lunch, I thought he was going to be telling me he's looking for a new job, and I found out the exact opposite. I said, "So Joel, how's life going?" And he said, "This is the best job I've ever had in my life, by far." And it really doesn't have a lot to do with the company, it has everything to do with the person that I work for. He said, "This has been the best experience I've ever had." But at the conclusion of him telling me what a great boss this was and all the characteristics, he said, "You know, the worst part about it is I don't think I'll ever be able to work for anybody ever again." And that's the comment that really got me thinking about, why does it have to be that way? Why does working for somebody great have to be the exception and not the rule? So that really kind of got me kind of going.
Cool. Second question, what have you learned since asking the favorite boss question?
And you're right, I have asked this question to a whole lot of people, and I've just been overwhelmed with how powerful this question is. It's emotional, it's positive. People want to tell you about this great experience that they've had. In many cases, it's been somebody that influenced them early in their careers and had a long-lasting impact regarding both their career and how they think about leadership. And the themes are very consistent across the board, and certainly the characteristics of a great boss are very, very similar. It always starts with trust and respect. You hear the word teacher and mentor a lot. You hear humility. You hear about somebody saying it's okay to make mistakes. You hear the word compassion and somebody who cares about me as an individual, not just me as a worker. Somebody who can take the time to help me and really listen to me. And one part I really like is that many times it's somebody who sees something in you that you don't see in yourself, and they help that bring that out in you.
Great. Last question, why are favorite bosses important?
And they are important. I'd like to answer this from 2 angles. First, from the organizational standpoint, I'm going to give you a number. The number is 45 or 45%. And that comes from a survey that was done a couple years ago of about 1 million American workers asking about their job satisfaction. 45% of Americans say that they're satisfied with their work and with their job. That means 55% of us aren't. That number has plummeted over the last 20 years by 17%. If you mix that with a couple other things, another survey that I am aware of from the Gallup organization, they queried 1 million American workers about all kinds of things regarding work, and one in particular, they said, "So if you've left your job recently, why did you leave?" The majority of people said that they didn't leave their company, that they left because of the individual person that they were working for. If you combine that now with what's going on in the marketplace, the war for top talent, and how it's getting harder and harder to find really great high potential talent, if you combine that with an economy that's starting to turn around and becoming more of a seller's market, and the changing demographics about younger people in the workforce, about baby boomers leaving, the whole talent issue is really vital. And if you stand back and think about the data I just told you, and think about great bosses and what the kind of impact they have, I believe that great bosses create great job satisfaction. And then if you have great job satisfaction, you don't leave your organization. And if you don't leave your organization, 2 things happen. You perform great because you're working for somebody great and you're satisfied. and you don't have a lot of recruiting costs because you don't have to continually go out and look at retention issues. The third part is if you're known as a company that has great bosses, everybody wants to work there. And then, the second piece I want to tell you about is from the individual standpoint.
Right.
Working for somebody great, and hopefully a lot of you out there have already worked for somebody great, it's really powerful. It helps connect you to the company, to the people that you work with, to your own job and your career, and it allows you to make an impact and make a difference. Working for a great boss lets you develop and grow, and that's a great hedge in an economy where everything is pretty insecure these days. It can actually impact your health. There was a Swedish survey done in Sweden about 3 years ago that queried people about life working for their bosses, and they found that people who work for bad bosses were 30% more likely to have a heart attack. And also, in another survey, it was found that for 75% of us, the most stressful part of our day is because of the person that we work for. So this is not only an organizational issue, an individual issue, it's a health issue too.
Thanks much for taking the time to share your work with us.
Thanks, Mary.